Today is blueberry grapefruit waffle. And I think mine ended up looking nicer even though I covered up the waffle. And what's the point of making waffles if you cover them up completely? I'm reviewing the Animal Lover's Book of Beastly Murder by Patricia Highsmith. And I don't know why it took me so long to get to this book. It's excellent. I haven't finished it. I'm going to save. I've decided it's a book of short stories, and I've decided that I'm going to save and read just one little short story at a time for the rest of it because it's so good. I'm going through it really fast. And this is Patricia Highsmith was the author who did, well, it says on the front, Strangers on the Train, whatever. But The Talented Mr. Ripley and the Ripley stuff. Yeah. So, I don't know why it took me so long to get to this. And who would have thought? I read about her. She was born in Texas. She's probably not currently residing in Switzerland anymore because she'd be really ancient. But, because this was published in 1975. So, and she was born in 1921, so...
Oh my heavens. Well, it's possible.
It's possible.
My dad was born in 1923.
Yeah.
He's still barely alive.
He has COVID.
Thank you, Scott Moe. Incidentally, my dad caught COVID.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, he had 4 shots, and it looks as though he might make it. But he had a cough, and he was coughing up phlegm. I understand, like just as COVID was hitting, we thought he'd caught it. This was 2 years ago, and he caught regular flu or just a cold, and he almost died. He developed pneumonia off of it. So that's how effective the vaccine is. He was on his last legs just with the complications of a cold, or at the most a flu. That was 2 years ago. He's 2 years older now. 4 shots. Looks as though he's going to make it, but no thanks to No Mo or Scott-free Mo, you sphincter. I almost said something else. Wow. But I knew my dad would catch it. Like.
Well, he's in a retirement center or whatever you call those places. Yeah. But anyway, I would definitely recommend the Animal Lover's Book of Beastly Murder.
So she might still be alive.
Is
it okay if I have a little look at?
It's like some of the stories are just. You'll have to be somebody like me, or evidently somebody like Patricia Highsmith, who I never would have guessed such a person would be born in Texas. But I guess people like us are born everywhere.
She's got a name that sounds so English, eh?
Yeah.
Patricia, and then Highsmith. It's wow.
And she writes as such too. Does not seem like an American from Texas.
No.
But,
and the other thing is, it's not much of an advertisement for Texas. She was living in Switzerland, like a refugee from Texas.
Well, she would be. Her in this book, I didn't know what it was going to be about because I'm like, beastly murders, animal lovers. What is this? Right? And I was thinking Talented Mr. Ripley when I looked in that. Well, this is going to be some sort of a mystery, but and beastly murder, you're thinking, okay, murder mystery, all right. Well, it's a lot of it. It's if you are the kind of person that you see that all creatures are people, then this makes sense to you, right? Because some of the murders are murders of, like the first one's a murder, I'll give it away, and you'll be very sad if you're anything like me. The first one's a murder of an elephant, and it is, she did a very good job. Anyway, and some of the murders are murders done by animals of whatever type on human animals, but sometimes it's human animals committing the murder, so it's it depends on the story, a collection of different short stories. And it's really, really well written. I mean, there's some things like the dog one, I don't know. Well, I guess there's dogs figure into a couple of them so far that I've read. But anyway, but the one that had a dog, that it wasn't the main part of the story. Anyway, doesn't matter. I don't know that I would have written Dogs as Thinking as such in the same way that she did, but that's all right. How can you know? Anyway, after reading just half of this book, I want to read everything she's written.
Well, there's
and she has quite a bit there.
quite a few. Of course, she was, when this book was put out, she was over 50 years old. She's about 54 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, this was republished in '86, so this might have been the stuff that she'd published by the time she was 65 or something like that. So it's actually for, I mean, you know, Agatha Christie lived to be about 80, and maybe a little over 80. Maybe she didn't quite make it, but I think she published about 80 novels. So, but I don't think they were as artistic as this sort of stuff. A little bit formulaic, a lot of it. For my cousin Diane Coates of Box Canyon Ranch, Weatherford, Texas. I was joking. Thinking of joking that she came from West Texas, but if she came, her cousin came from.
Oh, I lost some blueberries.
Well, we can almost wash that out.
Yes, I guess.
It's worth it with the blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
If tomatoes hit the deck here, it's just, that's for the birds. Box Canyon Ranch, though, it sounds as though it's West Texas. Yeah. Looks as though originally she was, this thing was originally published by English publishers, so she must have been in Europe at that point in time. Patricia Highsmith. Well, that's awesome, because I've heard of these Ripley novels. There's quite a few titles here with Ripley in the name. The boy followed Ripley. Ripley's Game. I don't even know what Ripley is. Was Ripley a detective or something like that? A talented Mr. Ripley?
Well, as I remember it, I just watched the movie, and I think, you know what, there might have been 2 movies. There might have been a sequel. I can't remember. But, boy, I'm terrible today. Oh my gosh.
Stuff
Losing all my blueberries.
Wow, okay.
But I think Mr. Ripley was somebody who he was not who he said he was.
Okay. So maybe a spy or something?
I can't remember what.
Okay, not to worry. It was when you were young.
Well, it would have been a long time ago that they made the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't.
I'm just waking up. Literally. It's not like usually it takes me hours to wake up. But I just woke up.
Yep. I don't know. Perhaps the books would be better than the movie. As I remember, Jude Law was one of the people in it. So I can't imagine it would have been terrible. But I mean, it wasn't awesome for me. So because I didn't think, I want to go out and read all of her books. Anyway. But having read half a book, now I want to. What was I going to say about it? Hope we don't lose Blueberry.
Yeah, I don't want to squish him. Yeah. That's why I'm looking down.
I was going to talk about the grapefruit. Now, grapefruit, I always associate them with my mother and my ex-boyfriend. I've always loved the smell of grapefruit. It may be the best smelling fruit of them all, honestly. It's fantastic smelling, and I have never enjoyed the taste.
Yeah, that's the big, like but, if and but.
But now, I can tolerate. And if you put it with something else, like something that you like
waffles,
waffles and blueberry, it's okay.
especially blueberries. Waffles are kind of like the setup to the blueberries.
And I remember, like, I'd like to buy grapefruit because I wouldn't want to eat them, but I wanted my ex-boyfriend to eat them. He liked eating them, just so I could have them around and pick them up from the fruit bowl and give them a sniff and put them back down. Because I love the smell, but I didn't love the taste. And I remember saying to my mother once, she was eating a grapefruit, and I was looking at her like, and I must have, I don't know if she said they're good or something and tried to explain, or if I said, I don't know how you can eat that. And but anyway, see, this was a long time ago. She tried to teach me. You take the skin off.
Which is what Pauline has done here.
Yes.
This is why they
Which
look
is
so
a lot
attractive.
of work,
Yeah.
but they sure look more beautiful this way too. And they really
Probably
are.
taste a little bit better, you
Way
know,
better.
like it's not just the texture. I think a lot of that white stuff is a bitter, you know? I'm noticing that now, like eating them this way.
And I think she even tried to give me some, and I don't think I was able to handle it at that point. But now, later in life, my taste buds, maybe I burnt a few off or something, and now I can handle them. The grapefruit. And yeah, they're much better if you peel them.
Now,
Just do that
you
and it looks
do
good.
like lemon taste, right, in tea
Love
and
it.
things like that, which is, I was thinking initially that you didn't really like citrus taste, but like you don't like oranges that much, right?
No, oranges are almost as disgusting as grapefruit.
For you, yeah.
Yeah.
I love oranges, and it's funny. I think there might be certain
I hate the smell.
certain types of people for different types of taste, because Pauline's dad, like Pauline likes dairy. I don't like dairy that much, except with the exception of cheese. Various sorts of cheese. I don't like Limburger and really soft cheeses, but pretty well any other type of cheese I like. It doesn't like me. I've got lactose
It took me a
intolerance.
very long time to like blue cheese.
I kind
but
of like that
eventually
very, very small doses.
eventually.
Generally with something else. But I don't know if it's the salt in it or what. I think it's salt. A little bit strong for my taste. But if I have it with something else, like it with ice cream, it would be awesome. But Pauline was mentioning a long time ago, and several times in between, because I can't get over it really. I find it kind of amusing. Her dad liked sweet. You know, I love sweet. I'm a cookie monster, and you know, like Dare cookies. Back in the day when I was working evenings, I suffered from, to a certain extent, from seasonal affective disorder. I could down a bag in one sitting, a bag of Dare cookies. Not a really big amount of cookies, but pretty good. And because I didn't have a car and was doing janitorial like 8 hours a day, and walking to and from work, which would be another hour per day, that's weekdays, I was like 160 pounds, as thin as a whippet, and that was pretty well all muscle and bone. So I had lots of muscle on me back then. Not too much. I was built more like a tennis player or something like that, swimming. And so somewhere along the line, it came up that her dad loved his favorite pops were grape pop and orange pop.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wow, exact same taste as me.
Yeah.
Eventually I got so I couldn't stand Coke. I couldn't stand Mr. Pibb. I kind of like root beer, okay, but if I had my druthers all the way down the line, it would be, my favorite was grape. cola or pop, and then orange pop after that. So I think there may be these kind of trends. That just shocked me. The liking the sugar, liking those sorts of things. Your dad loved oranges, right? And was able to put up with oysters as well for some reason.
Yeah,
He'd
they
eat
ate the
oysters
same
and
things.
oranges at the same time, and that's what I tend to do. That was my way. I don't like oysters that much.
Oh, no,
but,
he didn't eat oranges. He liked orange pop.
Oh, orange pop.
I don't know
got
if
that wrong.
he liked mandarin oranges.
Okay.
He'd eat mandarin oranges.
Well, I prefer mandarin oranges. I thought I misunderstood. I thought you were saying like on a road trip or something like that, he'd eat oysters and oranges or something like that.
I don't know. He definitely had the oysters.
Yeah. And for a road trip, that's probably a good idea, just so long as you're not eating it with other people in the car, because it's kind of smelly stuff.
Well, and I got motion sick.
Oh, yeah. That would be awful.
So honestly, that was cruel.
Pauline still does. Your dad always had stick shift, too, on the vehicle, which...
he was a good driver, though.
He's a good driver, there's no doubt about it. I drove with... Pauline's dad, and with Pauline, of course, and Pauline's mom out on the East Coast, Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, and he's very smooth. The trouble is a stick shift, you can only be so smooth because there's always going to be that kind of like lagging action. I felt really good when driving Pauline around to find out that she didn't. Now, I always drive automatic. I'm not much of a driver, really. I started driving when I was 40. The thing I'm proudest of about my driving is I've never even had a parking ticket. But at least one I had to pay. I got one during COVID where I parked by the hospital, and they kept me too long there. I don't know what the limit is, an hour there or something like that. They kept me too long, kept me waiting. And so I got a ticket, but I didn't have to pay for it. But I haven't been driving long. It's been, well, actually it's been 28 years. So, but I've never had an accident, never had an incident. But I was, one of the things I'm proudest of in my whole life is that I can't recall Pauline getting motion sick while I've been driving. Now maybe she's kind of hasn't told me sometimes, but she will get like headaches sometimes if it's too hot and if the sun's shining in her eyes and things like that. Bad headaches. So when we took the ferry, you were on gravel, right, or something similar, and.
Which doesn't make me feel good either, but at least it makes me sleep.
That's about all it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's why sleeping. It's a bit different from. I take a form of thalidomide. It makes me pretty sleepy, drowsy, sleepy, a little bit fatigued. And I can still get out there and hike. But I think it was used. The thalidomide was used. Well, I was reading it was a soporific and a tranquilizer kind of. But I thought it was used in the first trimester of pregnancy, and that's why it caused the flipper babies to handle nausea. Wow. I'll have to check that out once COVID gets under control. So that'll be maybe my second lifetime. I don't know what they're going to do about it. China's trying to put the brakes on it. People's Republic of China. You folks that are into, I've got to come up with a better term, different term for.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you're going to use biological warfare, Gotta make sure it's not gonna come right
Come
back at
to
you.
It's called blowback. You got you flunkies handling the PRC. Stupid idiots. Telling the rest of the world to, we saw right through it, right at the beginning. Telling the rest of the world, hey, it's racist to shut your borders on China. Whereas what we were saying was, hey, every country, this was 2 years ago plus, every country of the world should shut its borders to China, but also with every other country in the world. And why is that? One of the main arguments I had back then for doing that was, hey, that's the best thing you can do for China, so it doesn't come back and blow back on them. You see how I actually cared more about the Chinese people than the people in ruling or misruling China, People's Republic of China. I didn't want it to come back and blow back on them. I didn't want it to spread throughout the world, the whole world. And this should have started with who? Should have shut down unnecessary traffic, which is tourism and pretty well everything between countries. Way back when, 2 years ago, we wouldn't be having this trouble.
Yep, this thing just showed who doesn't care about other people. And sadly, a lot of people don't.
So,
it was really educational for me.
And does it seem harsh and cruel for me to be laughing at the people in People's Republic of China? Maybe it does. I'm telling you. Every populace in the world that's allowing a dictatorship, and I say allowing a dictatorship to squat on top of them and do whatever they do when people squat on other people, it's on them. All they've got to do is do what was done in Eastern Europe, 89. You just don't work. You just stop. There are going to be a few people who get killed, but ultimately the people in power, they'll be able to do nothing. And when I mean a few people, it might only be 1,000 people, 100 people. All it takes is a little bit of courage. And but the most important thing is actually seeing what's happening. They should be seeing this in People's Republic of China, and they're actually being locked down anyway. So why not just say, hey, that's enough now. We've had enough of you guys. We're actually going to have a democracy, because it works better for the locals and it works better for the neighbors. And unfortunately, every country in the world is a neighbor of the People's Republic of China, one way or another. So, were you finished with your review there? We kind of got this off track.
Yeah, I don't want to give the stories away. I already
there you
gave
go.
away what it's basically about.
And the most important thing she gave away is it's worth reading.
Yes.
So, like, I'm going to be reading that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Beastly Murder. So maybe got a bit of time for reviews here. First of all, a preview.
I gotta wash my house coat. I have so much graphite. Because
That's graphite, folks. She
I
writes so
write
much.
poetry and then I get it all over.
She uses pencil for it.
Yeah.
And she's not making it up. How many poems have you been writing? Generally sonnet length, the last little
I'm doing
while?
a project called Sonnet Summer. So I'm trying to make sure that I get one sonnet done every day. But some days I have a headache or whatever and I don't get it done. So in order to make sure that I get at least one done a day, then I'm doing more than one every day. So then on days when I can't do them, then it'll still factor out. So
I think you've been doing more than two
well, we'll
a day
see.
on average.
Yeah.
What have you maxed out? 6?
Yeah.
There you go. 6. 6 in
yeah,
one
I
day
can
is
do
amazing.
6.
And there are many
That
days
one's
when
big.
you've done 4. What? Here?
Yeah.
So where is? Oh, he
Do you
was
see
kind of
him?
hidden. Now I can once he moved. He's kind of scolding you for pointing him out.
Yeah. He didn't
So,
like me
no, you don't
pointing.
do that. No.
But he's just a
Let's see.
sparrow, but he's all fluffed out. So he looks round. Unless he's just eaten a lot of food lately.
Yeah, he's been hanging around here. He's been putting lots of seeds out. And right now he's checking out all this bright colored stuff. Well, it's actually not that bright.
Yeah, he might be wanting.
He's saying, hey, you guys, clear out of there.
Don't
Blueberries.
Think he wants grapefruit.
Well,
but he might be wanting what I stuck behind us too.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, he's like,
well,
why are you guys blocking my path to my food?
Yeah. You crazy humans. Yeah.
That's where I've been putting the seed for them lately. It works out better that way.
I think it keeps them away from the cats, right? The stuff tends to fall down.
Could come here, but I don't think that they'd get away. I think
we haven't seen them whacking birds recently, or this year. He looks really like quite a character.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hungarian phrase book and dictionary. Pauline's going to check and see how much time we've got.
We have about 3-4 minutes.
3-4 minutes, maybe one per book, 1 minute per book. So I'm close to finish this. I'm basically down to the vocabulary, which is always a slog, but not really a hard slog. I actually enjoy dealing with vocabulary. Of course, I'm the kind of person from childhood I've liked just going through encyclopedias and dictionaries. So this is more like a preview of review. I won't be able to do a full sort of thing. So these are some classical sources. Hesiod, or Hesiod as I prefer to say it, but I think in the general English mispronunciation. Mine is a mispronunciation. Is Hesiod. And it's the Theogony, which is kind of like the I guess you'd have to say the birth of the gods, something like that. Translated with an introduction by Norman O. Brown, who did a lot of stuff having to do with mythology that Jim Morrison, late of the Doors, seemed to like. Norman O. Brown. So he actually does a awful job of editing this. He's got a lot of stuff where he'll just say, what does he say? Omitting line 866, melts in the holy ground through the art of Hephaestus. Omitting line this, that, and the other thing. In the editor's opinion, lines 930 through 37 are not part of the original poem. So he has them, those are the ones that he has in italic as part of the regular text. I don't mind that much, but a lot of it is down in footnotes, which, it doesn't follow the sort of stuff, which, in the editor's opinion, not it's just off-putting. Now, I kind of like this series, Macmillan Library of Liberal Arts. We've got a lot of philosophical and philosophical stuff. How much time? A minute?
Yep. Elvis, get in.
So,
come on, Elvis.
It actually comes recommended. It's, of course, translated. It's probably better if you can read the original at the same time as reading this. So, Loeb, the classics, is generally pretty good for the classical sources like Latin and Greek. Those things would come more recommended. Unfortunately, I think they'd put up by Harvard University.